Everything you are right now is the result of yesterday's habits. But what if I told you that you can completely redesign your life starting today? This is not about motivation or temporary fixes. This is about shedding the habits, thoughts, and routines that hold you back, and replacing them with systems that create unstoppable purpose, resilience, and fulfillment. By the end of this audiobook, you will know exactly how to reinvent yourself, step by step, and claim the life you were meant to live. The time to start is now. Listen closely because your future is being decided by what you do next. Chapter 1. Stop proving and start doing. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Every day, every hour, every minute, you are deciding between proving yourself and producing results. Most people are trapped in the endless cycle of proving. They prove to their friends. They prove to their coworkers. They prove to strangers on social media. They chase likes. They chase validation. They chase the applause of others. Here's the truth: proving yourself is a trap. It is invisible. It is seductive. It makes you feel important for a moment while your life quietly slips away. Status, titles, approval, these are illusions. They are distractions. They are chains disguised as compliments. And while you are proving yourself, someone else is building, creating, moving forward. That's the key. You are spending your life for the applause of people who aren't paying attention. And worse, you are missing the life you could be building. Let me say it again: prove less. Do more. Repeat it to yourself. Write it down. Say it out loud. The moment you stop proving, that's the moment your energy begins to flow toward what actually matters. Real growth doesn't come from permission. You don't need their permission. The world doesn't reward your explanations. It doesn't reward your excuses. It doesn't care if you are ready. The world rewards action, execution, results. This is hard for most people to accept because it goes against everything we have been conditioned to believe. We are told to wait. Wait for the right time. Wait for approval. Wait until someone says we are good enough. But here's the hard truth: the right time doesn't exist. Permission will never come. Approval is irrelevant. What matters is action. What matters is showing up, taking the first step, and taking the next step after that. Let's break it down. You want to reinvent yourself. You want to grow. You want to build a life that matters. You cannot do it by proving yourself to others. You cannot do it by asking if it's okay. You cannot do it by waiting for someone to say yes. You have a choice: stay small and comfortable or step into action and build. That's the key. You choose. Think about Elon Musk. Elon Musk didn't wait for validation before he started SpaceX. He didn't wait for permission from investors. He didn't wait until someone told him he was ready to compete with billion-dollar aerospace companies. He acted. He iterated. He failed. He failed again. And then he succeeded. He succeeded not because anyone believed in him, but because he refused to stop doing. That's the mindset. That's the discipline. That's the proof of what's possible when you stop seeking approval and start executing. This principle applies to every area of your life. Want to write a book? Stop asking if people will like it. Stop asking if it's perfect. Start writing. Want to get fit? Stop thinking about what others will say about your body. Stop waiting for a good day to start. Start moving today. Want to build a business? Stop worrying about the competition. Stop worrying about the naysayers. Start building. Start testing. Start learning. Action compounds. Excuses decay. And this isn't about reckless action. It's not about moving blindly. It's about disciplined action. It's about creating systems that make doing inevitable. It's about committing to momentum. Momentum beats hesitation every single time. Momentum transforms ideas into reality, one small, repeated action at a time. That's why the person who executes relentlessly will always surpass the person who seeks validation endlessly. Always. You have a choice. Do you want to spend your life proving you are competent, likable, worthy? Or do you want to spend your life doing, building, creating, and transforming? You have the choice. And the moment you choose doing, you start to see results. You start to feel control. You start to reclaim your time and energy. You start to step out of the shadow of other people's opinions and into the light of your own purpose. Let's talk about repetition. It is crucial here. Every day remind yourself, Prove less. Do more. Every decision, every action, every conversation, ask yourself, am I proving or am I doing? Every time you catch yourself in the proving trap, stop. Even small steps count. Writing one paragraph counts. Making one call counts. Taking one walk counts. Doing counts. Momentum builds. Habits form. Life transforms. That's the key. Stop waiting for external validation. Stop seeking applause. Stop explaining yourself before you even begin. The people who succeed don't need validation. They don't ask. They don't wait. They act. They iterate. They fail. They learn. And they succeed. Repeat it. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You only need to act. Here's your homework. Identify one area in your life where you are spending energy proving yourself. It could be at work. It could be in relationships. It could be online. It could be anywhere. Take that energy, redirect it toward doing. Take one action today that matters. One step. One decision. One task that moves you forward. You will notice the difference immediately. You will feel the power of momentum. You will feel the taste of your life beginning to change. That's the power of choosing doing over proving. Remember, this is not a one-time choice. This is a daily discipline. You will be tempted to prove again. You will feel the pull of approval. You will be tempted to explain, justify, or wait. That's human. That's normal. But here's the key. The person who reinvents themselves does not succumb to that pull. The person who reinvents themselves chooses action every time. Momentum. Execution. Systems. Discipline. You have a choice. So, as you close this chapter, remember, prove less. Do more. Take one step. Take the next step. Build your momentum. Create your systems. Fail if you must, but do not stop. Action is your currency. Execution is your proof. You do not need their permission. You do not need their applause. You only need to act. You mastered the trap of proving yourself. Now it's time to step into discomfort, to challenge your comfort zone, and to build resilience. Chapter 2. Break the chains of comfort. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today that choice is between comfort and growth. Comfort is the silent killer of dreams. It whispers to you, you're fine. You're safe. Don't push. And you believe it. You listen. You settle. You stay small. Here's the truth. Comfort feels good today, but it costs you decades of potential tomorrow. It tricks you into thinking stability equals progress. It convinces you that showing up is enough, that minimal effort is acceptable. But minimal effort never produces extraordinary results. Minimal effort never reinvents your life. Comfort is the enemy of change. And until you recognize that, you will remain trapped. You have a choice. Step into comfort and you remain stagnant. Step into discomfort and you grow. That's the key. Growth does not happen in comfort zones. It never has. The strongest muscles are built under tension. The sharpest minds are forged under pressure. The most resilient people are shaped by challenges they never asked for but chose to face anyway. Every great transformation begins with discomfort. Let's be clear, this is not theory. It is practice. Reinvention is not a thought exercise. It's action. It's a daily commitment to stepping beyond what is easy. That's why every habit, every micro decision, every daily routine must be designed to challenge you. Cold showers in the morning. Waking up before sunrise. Doing the work no one else wants to do. These are small acts of discomfort that compound over time. Discomfort compounds. Repeat that phrase, discomfort compounds. What? Because when you consistently step into small discomforts, you train your mind and body to tolerate bigger ones. You build resilience. You build willpower. You build confidence. One small choice today, a 5-minute cold shower, an extra lap, a harder project, prepares you for massive challenges tomorrow. It is the foundation of reinvention. That's the key. Think about it in the real world. Athletes don't become champions by sitting on the couch. Entrepreneurs don't succeed by sticking to what feels safe. Leaders don't inspire by avoiding difficult conversations. Every person who reinvents themselves, every person who builds a life of purpose has mastered discomfort. They learn to embrace what others flee from. They built systems that forced them to confront unease every single day. And that is what separates the average from the exceptional. Here's the hard truth. Comfort is addictive. It is sneaky. It disguises itself as efficiency, safety, and stability. But beneath it, you are shrinking. You are stagnating. You are losing time, your most valuable asset, while telling yourself everything is fine. Stop lying to yourself. Stop rationalizing. Stop hiding. You have a choice. Choose discomfort. Choose growth. This doesn't mean reckless or chaotic action. It means deliberate daily challenges. Start small. A 5-minute cold shower. A 30-minute focus block. A task you've been avoiding. It doesn't have to be monumental. It has to be consistent. You are building your discomfort muscles one rep at a time. And as you grow stronger, discomfort becomes your ally, not your enemy. You start seeking it because it means you are expanding. That's the key. Here's the repetition you need to embed in your mind. Discomfort compounds. Discomfort compounds. Discomfort compounds. Say it every day. Write it on sticky notes. Repeat it to yourself in the mirror. Because every time you feel the urge to retreat, that phrase will remind you of your path forward. Every time you want to stay comfortable, remember, discomfort compounds. Real-world example. Tim Ferriss, author of The 4-Hour Workweek, talks about fear setting. He deliberately puts himself into uncomfortable situations. Cold exposure, public speaking, intense training, to build mental toughness. Every discomfort faced reduces the power of fear and increases clarity and courage. That's how reinvention works. It's not abstract. It's measurable. It's repeatable. It's daily. Another example, waking up early. You have heard it before. But hear it again. Waking up early is not about the time on the clock. It's about claiming control. It's about doing what most people won't do. It's about taking the first hours of the day and using them for growth. The person who wakes early consistently, who structures those hours for learning, creation, or exercise, compounds progress daily. Comfort says, sleep in. Discipline says, rise. Do. Grow. That's the difference. This principle applies to all areas of life. Financial, physical, emotional, professional, it doesn't matter. Growth always requires stepping into discomfort. Relationships require honest conversations. Careers require taking risks. Health requires disciplined sacrifice. Discomfort compounds. You cannot escape it. And you should not want to escape it. You have a choice. You can ignore discomfort and stay small. You can rationalize it, excuse it, hide from it. Or you can face it daily. You can embrace it. You can design your life so that small challenges build unstoppable momentum. That's the key to reinvention. Every day you step into discomfort, you grow. Every day you avoid it, you shrink. Every day you have a choice. Now let's make this concrete. Pick one small discomfort today. One. That's all. A cold shower, a longer walk, a difficult conversation, a challenging task. Do it. Commit. Repeat it tomorrow. Add another. Layer them. That is how you build systems that guarantee transformation. That is how discomfort compounds. That is how your life begins to shift from average to extraordinary. Remember, comfort is seductive, but it is the enemy. Discomfort is difficult, but it is the ally. The person who reinvents themselves does not chase comfort. They embrace discomfort consistently, relentlessly, and without apology. They make small choices daily that build resilience, momentum, and unstoppable forward motion. So as you close this chapter, remember, discomfort compounds. Every small challenge, every uncomfortable choice, every deliberate act of courage shapes your future. You mastered the trap of comfort. Now, let's talk about the next barrier standing between you and reinvention. Chapter 3, The Silent Cost of Seeking Validation. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today, that choice is between seeking validation and claiming your own authority. Most people are addicted to approval. They live their lives on other people's terms. Every post, every comment, every action is filtered through the lens of, will they like me? Will they approve? Will they notice? And in that constant chase, they forget the most important person in the equation, themselves. Here's the truth. Seeking validation is a silent thief. It drains your energy, blurs your purpose, and slowly erodes your confidence. You think you are moving forward, but you are moving sideways. You are bending and twisting to fit expectations that were never meant for you. Approval feels good in the moment, but it comes at a cost. You sacrifice time. You sacrifice focus. You sacrifice clarity. Every second spent trying to please others is a second stolen from building your own vision. That's the key. You have a choice. You can continue measuring yourself by likes, comments, applause, or nods of approval, or you can set your own standard. The people who truly reinvent themselves, the artists, the entrepreneurs, the innovators, don't wait for permission. They don't bend to public opinion. They fail publicly. They get criticized. They are laughed at. And yet they continue. They succeed privately by staying true to their vision, their discipline, their mission. That's the principle. That's the power of internal authority. Let's break it down. Constantly seeking approval is exhausting. Every decision is questioned. Every action is filtered. Every step forward requires negotiation with an invisible crowd. And worst of all, the approval never satisfies. You never arrive. There is always another voice to appease, another expectation to meet. It's a treadmill that never ends. That's the silent cost. And if you don't recognize it, it will silently destroy your life. You have a choice. Stop measuring your worth externally. Stop asking permission. Stop seeking applause. Every moment you do, you dilute your potential. Every moment you do, you slow your reinvention. Every moment you do, you move away from your purpose. That's the key. The people who achieve extraordinary transformation set their own standard. They define their own metrics. They measure progress by action, consistency, and growth, not by praise or approval. Look at the world around you. Every artist who creates a masterpiece, every entrepreneur who disrupts an industry, every thinker who challenges the status quo has ignored critics along the way. Van Gogh sold only a single painting in his lifetime. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. J.K. Rowling faced rejection from dozens of publishers. And yet they persisted. They succeeded privately before the world applauded. They ignored validation, and in doing so, they created something extraordinary. That's the blueprint. That's what reinvention requires. Here's the repetition you need to ingrain. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You only need to act. You only need to persist. You only need to create. Say it every day. Write it on sticky notes. Repeat it in your mind when fear creeps in. Because fear and criticism are inevitable. But if you root yourself in internal authority, they will not stop you. Let's get practical. Start with awareness. Identify where in your life you are constantly seeking validation. Social media? Work? Relationships? Friends? Family? Notice it. Name it. Then cut the leash. Take one action today that is guided solely by your own standard, not by others' approval. That's all. One deliberate choice to act on your terms. Repeat tomorrow. Layer it daily. Momentum builds. Your internal compass strengthens. That's the key to reinvention. Remember, approval is fleeting. It is unpredictable. It is never enough. Internal authority is permanent. It is unwavering. It compounds over time. The moment you stop asking, the moment you stop bending, the moment you stop proving, you reclaim your energy, your clarity, and your freedom. You create space for your vision, your purpose, your mission. That is how reinvention happens. That is how transformation occurs. Now let's talk about repetition and reinforcement. You will be tempted. You will feel the pull of outside approval. You will think, they are right. Maybe I should listen. That's human. That's normal. But here's the key. The people who reinvent themselves act despite the noise. They act regardless of opinion. They act relentlessly. Repeat it. I don't need their permission. I act. I create. I persist. Embed it in your daily life. It becomes automatic. It becomes unstoppable. Here's another practical step. Critique is inevitable. You will fail publicly. You will be judged. You will be misunderstood. That is not only normal, it is necessary. Failure and criticism are feedback, not validation. They are signals for adjustment, not permission slips. The people who succeed use criticism as data, not validation. They iterate, they improve, they continue. That's the difference between proving and doing. That's the difference between mediocrity and reinvention. And here's a final note on energy. Seeking validation saps it. It distracts you. It clouds your judgment. It slows you down. The energy you spend convincing others could be spent building your skills, your systems, your life. Reinvented people guard their energy fiercely. They invest it in growth, not in pleasing others. That's the key. Protect your energy. Use it to do, not to prove. So, as you close this chapter, remember, you have a choice. You don't need their approval. You don't need validation. You only need action, discipline, and persistence. Stop bending. Stop proving. Stop asking. Define your own standards. Live by your own rules. Reinvent yourself on your terms. You mastered the trap of seeking validation. Now it's time to master your mind. Chapter 4. Replace goals with systems. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today that choice is between chasing goals and building systems. Most people chase goals. They set them, they obsess over them, they measure success by them. But here's the truth. Goals are fragile. Goals are short-term. Goals are a ticking clock of pressure disguised as motivation. Think about it. How many times have you set a goal and then felt crushed when you didn't meet it? How many times have you declared a life-changing resolution, only to abandon it a few weeks later? That's the trap. Goals alone don't guarantee progress. They are like landmarks without a map. They give you a destination but no strategy to get there. And when they fail, you feel defeated, discouraged, and unmotivated. That's the silent cost. You have a choice. You can continue chasing fragile, fleeting goals. Or you can build systems that work whether you feel motivated or not. That's the key. Systems are the structures, habits, and routines that guarantee results over time. They are repeatable. They are compounding. They are unstoppable. While goals are fragile, systems are resilient. While goals are short-term, systems build long-term transformation. Here's an example you can relate to. Reading 30 minutes a day. Journaling daily. Exercising consistently. These are not goals. These are systems. You don't measure success by a single book finished, a single journal entry, or a single workout. You measure success by showing up every day, by executing consistently, by compounding effort over time. That's how mastery is built. That's how momentum forms. That's how lives are transformed. Let's break it down. Goals create stress because they are results-focused. You set a target. You aim. You shoot. And if you miss, you fail. But systems remove failure as the central measure. Systems focus on process. Focus on action. Focus on what you do consistently. You can always adjust the process. You can always improve the routine. You can always show up tomorrow. That's the difference. That's the power of systems. You have a choice. Do you want to live by goals that can break you? Or do you want to live by systems that carry you forward regardless of circumstances? You don't need permission to decide. You don't need motivation to begin. You only need discipline. You only need consistency. You only need action. That's the key. Let's go deeper. Systems create compounding results because each small action builds on the last. Reading 30 minutes every day isn't impressive on its own. But after 30 days, you've finished multiple books. After 6 months, you have a library of knowledge. After a year, you are a different person. Momentum compounds. Habit compounds. Knowledge compounds. That's the key. Execution compounds. Systems compound. Goals do not. Another example, fitness. Many people set a goal, I want to lose 20 pounds. They focus only on the target. They exercise hard for a few days. They diet strictly for a week. And when the number doesn't drop fast enough, they quit. That's the trap. Now, contrast that with someone who sets a system. They exercise consistently, eat balanced meals, track progress daily. They don't obsess over the final number. They focus on what they can control, daily actions. And over time, weight loss happens automatically. That's the power of systems. That's the principle of transformation. Here's a critical insight. Goals are tempting because they offer immediate gratification. They give you a finish line to focus on. But the finish line is temporary. The satisfaction fades. Systems, however, build identity. Systems change who you are. They change how you behave. They change how you respond to challenges. When you live by systems, transformation becomes inevitable because your actions shape your identity. You don't just achieve, you become. That's the key. Let's get practical. Start with one area of your life where you are goal-obsessed. Fitness, productivity, learning, career, health. Remove the focus on the result. Replace it with a system. Write it down. Define what you will do every day, every week, consistently, without fail. That is your structure. That is your momentum. That is how you win every single time. Remember the repetition. You have a choice. Systems beat goals. Systems compound. Systems carry you forward. Systems create unstoppable momentum. Say it every day. Embed it in your mind. Let it guide every action, every habit, every micro decision. Because transformation is built on repetition. Reinvention is built on consistency. Systems are the vessel for both. Here's another example, journaling. You may have a goal, I want to journal 100 days straight. That's a goal. But a system is, I journal every morning for 10 minutes, no exceptions. The focus is on process, not results. And when you focus on process, results follow automatically. You build insight, clarity, self-discipline. Your habits change. Your mindset evolves. Your life reinvents itself. That's the key. Systems are also forgiving. They allow course correction. Goals do not. Miss a day on a goal and you feel failure. Miss a day in a system and you adjust tomorrow. You keep moving forward. You keep compounding. You keep reinforcing momentum. You keep building identity. That's the difference. That's why reinvention requires systems, not goals. And here's the ultimate truth. Most people fail because they chase goals without systems. They want the end result but avoid the hard daily work. They want success but not the repetition. They want transformation but not the discipline. That is the silent trap. Systems remove the trap. Systems make transformation inevitable. Systems guarantee reinvention if you show up. That's the key. So, as you close this chapter, remember, you have a choice. Replace fragile, short-term goals with resilient, compounding systems. Focus on action, consistency, and process. Build daily habits that carry you forward. Let systems shape your identity. Let systems carry your momentum. You mastered the trap of goal chasing. Now it's time to master your mind. Chapter 5. Master your mind before anything else. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today, that choice is between letting your mind control you or taking control of your mind. Most people live unconsciously. They react to thoughts, emotions, and impulses as if they are facts. They believe every feeling, every fear, every doubt, every craving must be acted on immediately. And because of that, their lives are chaotic. Their habits are inconsistent. Their growth is stunted. Here's the truth. Your thoughts dictate your actions. If your mind is uncontrolled, your life will be uncontrolled. That's the key. You cannot build a meaningful, disciplined, purposeful life without mastering your mind first. Every system, every habit, every goal, every success begins in the mind. The moment you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your actions. The moment you take control of your actions, you take control of your life. Repeat it. Control your mind, control your life. Let's be clear. Mastering your mind does not mean suppressing thoughts or pretending you are fearless. It means observing your thoughts, redirecting them, and intentionally choosing which ones to act on. It means rewiring the patterns that have been unconsciously running your life. It means understanding that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer and the executor. That's the key. Here's how you do it. First, visualization. Every morning, take 5 minutes to visualize your day, your actions, your goals, and your ideal self. See yourself acting decisively. See yourself succeeding. See yourself responding to challenges with discipline and clarity. Visualization primes your mind. It aligns your thoughts with your intentions. It programs your subconscious to act in alignment with your purpose. Repeat it every day. Control your mind, control your life. Next, affirmation. Affirmations are not just positive words. They are statements of identity. When you repeat, I am disciplined, I am focused, I act decisively, you are instructing your mind on how to behave. You are strengthening neural pathways that reinforce action over hesitation, courage over fear, discipline over distraction. Do this daily, multiple times a day if needed. Embed it into your consciousness. Your mind will respond. Your actions will follow. That's the key. Daily reflection is another critical tool. Each evening, review your day. What actions aligned with your purpose? What thoughts held you back? What moments of hesitation could have been met with discipline? Journaling is a powerful method here. Writing your thoughts down externalizes them. It allows you to observe patterns. It allows you to adjust. It allows you to master your mind incrementally. Consistent reflection builds awareness, and awareness is the foundation of control. Control your mind, control your life. Think about it in real-world terms. Elon Musk doesn't just react to stress. He visualizes outcomes, plans contingencies, and maintains focus despite chaos. Serena Williams doesn't just hit the ball. She controls her thoughts under pressure, visualizes success, and reinforces her identity as a champion every day. Every master of their craft first mastered their mind. That's how discipline is born. That's how momentum is created. That's how lives are transformed. Now, repetition is critical. You must ingrain these principles daily. Every decision, every habit, every interaction begins in the mind. Every time a negative thought creeps in, asterisk, I can't do this. I'm not ready. I'm not enough. Asterisk, you must correct it immediately. Replace it with affirmation. Replace it with vision. Replace it with purpose. You have a choice. You always have a choice. The moment you choose control, you reclaim your power. That's the key. Here's a practical exercise. Throughout your day, pause before acting. Observe the thought that triggers your action. Ask yourself, is this thought serving me or is it controlling me? If it's controlling you, take a deep breath. Refocus. Act intentionally. This small pause, repeated hundreds of times, rewires your mental pathways. It trains your mind to be a servant, not a tyrant. Over time, you will notice clarity, focus, and decisiveness. That's the foundation of reinvention. Another practical tool is mental rehearsal for challenges. Before a difficult conversation, a big presentation, or a high-pressure task, visualize yourself responding with calm, precision, and confidence. Imagine the obstacles. Imagine the pushback. Imagine yourself navigating it successfully. Your mind cannot distinguish between repeated visualization and reality. Each rehearsal strengthens your neural pathways, reinforcing control over your reactions and decisions. Control your mind, control your life. Let's address fear and doubt. They are inevitable. You will face uncertainty. You will feel hesitation. You will question your ability. That's human. But here's the key. Mastery of the mind does not remove fear. It changes your response to it. It allows you to act despite fear. It allows you to maintain discipline despite doubt. Every great achiever experiences fear and doubt. They just don't obey them. They master their mind first and then their actions follow. That's the principle. Energy management is also part of mastering your mind. Your focus and attention are finite resources. If you allow distractions, negativity, or excessive external input to control your thoughts, you waste energy. You scatter your willpower. You weaken your ability to act decisively. Reinvented people protect their mental space fiercely. They curate their input. They focus their thoughts. They train their mind to prioritize what matters most. That's how they maintain control and momentum. Remember the repetition. Control your mind, control your life. Say it aloud. Write it down. Repeat it when fear arises. Repeat it when doubt arises. Repeat it when distraction tempts you. Make it your mantra. Your actions will follow. Your habits will align. Your life will transform. That's the key. As you close this chapter, know this. Mastery of your mind is the foundation for every system, every habit, every action, and every transformation in this book. You have learned to stop proving, to embrace discomfort, to ignore validation, to replace goals with systems. Now you master the engine driving it all, your mind. You have a choice. Act like your thoughts control you or act like you control your thoughts. You have a choice. The reinvention of your life begins in your mind. You control your thoughts, you control your actions, you control your results. You control your destiny. Control your mind. Control your life. You mastered your thoughts. Now let's face failure head on. Chapter 6. Fail fast, learn faster. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today that choice is between fearing failure or using it as fuel. Most people see failure as defeat. They avoid it at all costs. They stay safe. They settle. They never test their limits. And because of that, their potential is capped. Their growth is stunted. Their dreams fade. Here's the truth. Failure is not defeat. Failure is feedback. Failure is information. Failure is the universe's way of showing you what doesn't work so you can discover what does. Every setback, every mistake, every misstep is a data point. The reinvented person understands this. They don't just survive failure, they leverage it. They study it. They analyze it. They adjust. That's the key. You have a choice. You can fear failure and remain stagnant, or you can fail fast, learn faster, and grow unstoppable. That's the principle. Every mistake contains a lesson. Every wrong turn contains a correction. Every failed attempt contains insight. But only if you are willing to observe, reflect, and act. Repeat it, fail. Learn. Iterate. Repeat. Let's break it down. Most people respond to failure emotionally. They feel shame. They feel doubt. They feel embarrassment. And then they stop. That's the trap. The reinvented person responds differently. They treat failure objectively. They ask, what can I learn from this? How can I adjust my system? What will I do differently next time? Failure becomes a tool, not a wall. That's the key. Think about real-world examples. James Dyson built 5,000 prototypes before perfecting his vacuum cleaner. 5,000 failures. Most people would have quit after 1, 10, or 100. Dyson treated every failure as feedback, iterating, adjusting, and moving forward relentlessly. Each failure brought him closer to success. He mastered the cycle: fail, learn, iterate, repeat. That's the principle of reinvention. Now repetition is critical. You must ingrain the mindset daily. Every time you stumble, every time a plan fails, every time a setback occurs, remind yourself: fail, learn, iterate, repeat. Say it out loud. Write it down. Embed it in your actions. Let it guide your reflection. Let it guide your next step. That's the key. Here's the practical approach. Step 1. Embrace experimentation. Test ideas. Try new strategies. Push beyond your comfort zone. Understand that some attempts will fail. That is not weakness. That is opportunity. Step 2. Document what happens. Write down what worked, what didn't, and why. Treat failure as data. Step 3. Adjust your approach. Systems, habits, routines, tweak them based on lessons learned. Then act again. Repeat. Fail. Learn. Iterate. Repeat. Failure is not just about systems. It's also about mindset. Reinvented people cultivate resilience. They detach their self-worth from outcomes. They understand that failing does not make them inadequate. It makes them informed. Each failure strengthens mental toughness, patience, and adaptability. The more they fail, the faster they learn, the faster they grow. That's the key. Let's consider another example. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, faced countless rejections from manufacturers and investors. She failed repeatedly, adjusted her pitch, refined her prototype, and persisted. Each no was feedback, not defeat. Today, she built a billion-dollar business because she treated failure as a stepping stone, not a wall. Fail. Learn. Iterate. Repeat. That's the principle of exponential growth. Practical tip. After every failure, ask 3 questions. 1. What did I learn? 2. What can I change? 3. What is my next step? Write the answers down. Make them actionable. Apply them immediately. This creates a feedback loop that accelerates mastery. Each iteration compounds. Each adjustment builds momentum. Each failure becomes a stepping stone to success. That's the key. Another critical point: speed matters. Fail fast, learn faster. Hesitation, denial, or excuses slow growth. The longer you avoid confronting failure, the slower your progress. Take action. Test, observe, adjust, repeat. The faster you cycle through failure and learning, the faster your results compound. Reinvented people move quickly, relentlessly, and intelligently. That's the key. Repetition is your ally. Internalize this mantra: fail, learn, iterate, repeat. Fail, learn, iterate, repeat. Fail, learn, iterate, repeat. Let it echo in your mind whenever setbacks occur. Let it reinforce your actions. Let it guide your reflection. Let it shape your identity. Each failure is fuel. Each lesson is momentum. Each iteration is transformation. That's the principle. That's the key. Energy follows action. Momentum follows iteration. Learning follows feedback. You cannot afford to treat failure as defeat. You cannot afford to fear mistakes. You cannot afford hesitation. The only path forward is to embrace failure fully, analyze objectively, adjust ruthlessly, and take the next step without delay. Fail, learn, iterate, repeat. As you close this chapter, remember, failure is inevitable. Resistance is inevitable. Setbacks are inevitable. But defeat is optional. The reinvented person chooses to fail fast, learn faster, and move relentlessly toward transformation. Each failure compounds wisdom. Each lesson compounds skill. Each iteration compounds results. You have the choice to harness failure or be crushed by it. You mastered fear of failure. Now let's channel that courage into unstoppable momentum. Chapter 7. Build daily momentum, not motivation. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today, that choice is between relying on fleeting motivation or creating unstoppable momentum. Most people wait for motivation. They wait for the feeling. They wait for inspiration to strike. And while they wait, time slips away. Goals are delayed. Habits are postponed. Potential is wasted. Here's the truth. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like a wave. Some days it floods you. Other days it disappears completely. If you rely on motivation alone, you will be inconsistent. You will start and stop. You will hesitate. You will drift. Motivation is unreliable. That's why it cannot be the engine of reinvention. Momentum, on the other hand, is unstoppable. Momentum is created through repeated action. Momentum builds every time you show up, every time you act, every time you execute, even when you don't feel like it. Momentum does not require inspiration. It does not rely on excitement. Momentum compounds. Momentum carries you forward automatically once you start it. That's the key. You have a choice. You can wait for motivation and remain stuck, or you can create daily momentum and become unstoppable. That's the principle of consistent, disciplined action. Momentum beats inspiration every time. Repeat that. Say it out loud. Write it down. Embed it in your mind. Momentum beats inspiration every time. Let's break it down. Momentum is built through small, consistent wins. Writing 500 words a day. Saving $10 a day. Doing one extra push-up every day. Practicing your craft for 20 minutes daily. Each action may seem minor alone, but repeated consistently, these small actions compound into massive results over months and years. This is not theory. It is the law of compounding applied to action. That's the key. Think about it in the real world. J.K. Rowling didn't finish her first book in a single week. She wrote a few pages daily, consistently, even when she faced rejection and doubt. Warren Buffett didn't accumulate wealth overnight. He invested patiently, consistently, and repeatedly over decades. Serena Williams didn't become a champion in one tournament. She trained daily, consistently, pushing one extra rep, running one more lap, refining her technique every single day. Momentum compounds. Momentum is unstoppable. Here's a critical point. Daily momentum creates identity. You are not defined by feelings. You are defined by actions. When you consistently show up, day after day, your identity shifts. You become the writer, the investor, the athlete, the creator. Motivation may waver. Inspiration may fade. But your identity, reinforced through momentum, remains. That's the key. Let's get practical. Identify one small action you can do every day that moves you closer to your goal. Could be writing, reading, exercising, learning, or saving. Commit to doing it daily, no exceptions. Track it. Measure it. Hold yourself accountable. After a week, you will feel the difference. After a month, the momentum will be undeniable. After a year, your life will be transformed. That's how daily momentum works. Momentum beats inspiration every time. Here's another insight. Momentum makes resistance easier to overcome. Motivation fights resistance. It tires quickly. Momentum smashes it. Once you establish a rhythm, the act of doing becomes automatic. The work becomes easier. The energy increases. You are no longer relying on fleeting feelings. You are relying on the unstoppable force of consistent action. That's the key. Small wins matter more than big bursts. Writing 500 words every day beats writing 5,000 words in one frantic session. Saving $10 daily beats waiting to accumulate $1,000 all at once. Doing one extra push-up every day beats an intense, unsustainable workout. The principle is consistency. The principle is repetition. The principle is building momentum that compounds and carries you forward. That's the key. You have a choice. You can wait for bursts of motivation, or you can create consistent, daily momentum. Momentum compounds. Momentum builds confidence. Momentum builds identity. Momentum creates unstoppable forward motion. That's the difference between average people and those who reinvent themselves. That's the key. Here's a practical tool, the micro-action strategy. Break your big goals into tiny, repeatable actions. Execute one every day. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the action. Repeat it. Build momentum. Each day, add another micro-action. Stack them. Compounding occurs naturally. Over time, your results will seem effortless, but only because of the work you did consistently when no one was watching. That's how reinvention works. Momentum beats inspiration every time. Another point, momentum reduces procrastination. When you are moving consistently, hesitation has no power. The first action begets the next. One page written leads to 2. One extra push-up leads to 3. One small investment leads to multiple. Action compounds and momentum accelerates. Motivation is no longer necessary because the force of movement carries you forward. That's the key. Remember the repetition. Momentum beats inspiration every time. Momentum beats inspiration every time. Momentum beats inspiration every time. Say it to yourself when you feel lazy. Say it when you feel doubt. Say it when you feel fear. Let it guide your daily actions. Embed it in every micro decision. It will keep you consistent. It will keep you focused. It will keep you progressing. As you close this chapter, remember, you don't need motivation. You don't need bursts of inspiration. You need action. Daily, consistent, disciplined action. Small wins compounded over time. Momentum that cannot be stopped. You mastered the fleeting trap of motivation. Now you will master unstoppable daily progress. You have a choice. Will you wait for motivation or will you build momentum? You mastered daily momentum. Now let's embrace failure and learning. Chapter 8. Embrace the long game. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today that choice is between chasing short-term pleasure or committing to long-term results. Most people fall for the seduction of instant gratification. The fleeting rush of a like, the impulse purchase, the skipped workout, the binge watch instead of building skills. Feels good now, but it costs you everything you could have later. Here's the truth. Short-term pleasure is destructive. It feels rewarding, but it steals your future. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, distraction over focus, or impulse over discipline, you pay a silent tax. That tax compounds over months and years. You may not notice it today, but decades later, it shows up as unfulfilled potential, wasted time, and regrets that cannot be erased. That's the key. You have a choice. You can chase immediate rewards or you can invest in your future self. You can succumb to the seductive comfort of today, or you can endure temporary discomfort for lasting transformation. The reinvented person always chooses the long game. They understand that real growth, mastery, and fulfillment are invisible in the moment but undeniable over time. Discipline is invisible today but visible in a decade. Repeat it. Discipline is invisible today but visible in a decade. Let's break it down. Most people live in cycles of short-term thinking. They want results instantly. They want recognition instantly. They want validation instantly. And when it doesn't come, they quit. That's the trap. That's why the majority never achieve more than mediocrity. They sacrifice long-term impact for fleeting satisfaction. They trade decades of potential for a few minutes of comfort. That's the silent cost of instant gratification. You have a choice. You can continue trading your future for temporary pleasure, or you can invest consistently in the long game. That's the key. Every micro decision matters. Every action today compounds over time. Every choice between doing what's easy and doing what's meaningful shapes your life. You do not have to make perfect choices, but you must make consistent, deliberate choices toward lasting impact. That's the principle of the long game. Let's look at a real-world example, Warren Buffett. Buffett didn't get rich from one lucky stock tip. He didn't gamble. He didn't chase trends. He invested patiently, methodically, and consistently over decades. Small, disciplined actions, reinvesting dividends, studying businesses, making calculated decisions, compounded into unparalleled wealth. He mastered the long game. He delayed immediate pleasure in favor of lasting impact. That's the blueprint. That's what reinvention requires. Here's the repetition you need to internalize. Discipline is invisible today but visible in a decade. Discipline is invisible today but visible in a decade. Discipline is invisible today but visible in a decade. Say it to yourself whenever you are tempted to quit. Say it whenever comfort whispers, relax. You deserve this. Say it whenever distraction beckons. Embed it in your mind. Let it guide your actions. Momentum compounds. Patience compounds. Discipline compounds. That's the key. Think about your daily life. Every skipped workout, every procrastinated task, every impulsive distraction is a choice. You have a choice. Every choice can either compound into your future success or compound into stagnation. It doesn't feel like much now, but in 10 years the difference is enormous. The long game separates those who are successful from those who are average. It separates those who are fulfilled from those who live in regret. That's the key. Here's how to embrace it practically. Start with one area where you are tempted by instant gratification. Maybe it's health, finance, learning, or relationships. Identify the long-term action that will yield results and commit to it daily without fail. Invest in your future self consistently. Skip the shortcuts. Ignore the quick fixes. Focus on what will compound over time. That's how momentum meets the long game. That's how transformation occurs. Let's get concrete with habits. Want to be fit? Commit to a daily workout, even if small, for months. Want to be wealthy? Save and invest consistently, no matter how small. Want to build mastery? Practice your craft daily, regardless of immediate results. Every micro-action compounds. Every repetition strengthens the system. Every small step toward discipline today creates exponential results in the future. That's the principle of the long game. Now let's address the mindset. The long game requires patience, persistence, and resilience. It requires the ability to delay gratification. It requires enduring boredom, discomfort, and repetition. The reinvented person does not quit because results are invisible. They trust the system. They trust the process. They trust themselves. They act daily without immediate reward because they know that momentum, discipline, and patience are the engines of transformation. That's the key. Here's another repetition for reinforcement. You have a choice. Choose long-term impact over short-term pleasure. Choose discipline over indulgence. Choose consistency over instant gratification. The long game wins. The long game always wins. Repeat it daily. Let it shape your decisions, your habits, your identity. Every time comfort calls, every time distraction tempts, Every time impulse whispers, answer with, I am playing the long game. I endure today for excellence tomorrow. Discipline is invisible. Progress is invisible. But patience compounds. Momentum compounds. Habits compound. Systems compound. Your future self will reap the rewards of what you do today. That's the key. Your choices today are seeds. The life you want tomorrow is the harvest. Choose carefully. Choose consistently. Choose wisely. So as you close this chapter, remember, short-term pleasure is seductive, but it is destructive. Discipline is invisible today but undeniable in a decade. The person who reinvents themselves prioritizes lasting impact over fleeting comfort. You have a choice. Every decision, every action, every habit counts. Play the long game. Master patience. Embrace discipline. Compound your efforts consistently. You mastered short-term thinking. Now it's time to remove the toxic influences that hold you back. Chapter 9. Cut toxic inputs relentlessly. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today that choice is between consuming what empowers you or what destroys you. Most people underestimate the power of inputs. They allow toxic people, negative media, and draining habits to fill their minds daily. And they wonder why they feel stuck, unmotivated, or overwhelmed. The truth is simple. Who and what you consume shapes your habits, thoughts, and ultimately your life trajectory. That's the key. Think about it. Every conversation you have, every video you watch, every post you scroll through, every article you read, these are seeds planted in your mind. Some seeds elevate you. Some seeds poison you. If you feed on criticism, gossip, fear, or negativity, your mind adapts. Your habits degrade. Your mindset shrinks. Your momentum stalls. That's the silent, invisible cost of toxic inputs. You have a choice. You can continue consuming what drags you down, or you can curate your environment intentionally. You can surround yourself with people, ideas, and habits that elevate your thinking, challenge your limits, and propel you toward reinvention. That's the principle. That's how extraordinary people maintain focus, resilience, and discipline. They control their inputs because they know their environment either elevates them or imprisons them. Repeat it. Your environment will either elevate you or imprison you. Choose wisely. Let's break it down. Toxic inputs are everywhere. Negative relationships that drain your energy. Social media feeds that trigger comparison, envy, or distraction. Content that amplifies fear or doubt instead of insight or action. Habits that waste time, energy, or focus. If you are unconsciously consuming these every day, you are programming yourself for mediocrity. That's the trap. That's the hidden cost. You have a choice. Identify the toxic inputs in your life. Make a list. Be ruthless. Be honest. Who or what consistently leaves you drained, anxious, doubtful, or unproductive? Relationships? Social media? News cycles? Entertainment that numbs rather than empowers? Pinpoint it. Name it. And then remove it. Cut it relentlessly. That's the key. Here's the repetition you must embed. Your environment will either elevate you or imprison you. Choose wisely. Your environment will either elevate you or imprison you. Choose wisely. Your environment will either elevate you or imprison you. Choose wisely. Say it aloud. Write it down. Repeat it whenever temptation arises. Embed it into your decisions. Every input you allow shapes your thoughts, habits, and actions. Choose carefully. Now let's talk about replacement, not just removal. Removing toxic inputs leaves a void. You must fill it intentionally. Replace draining people with mentors, peers, or communities that challenge you. Replace negative media with content that teaches, inspires, or uplifts. Replace habits of distraction with habits of growth. Reading, journaling, exercising, learning. Transformation requires both elimination and substitution. That's the key. Think about the real world. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." If you are constantly around negativity, criticism, or laziness, your mindset, actions, and results will reflect that. Change your inputs and your output changes automatically. Surround yourself with discipline, purpose, and high standards. Let them shape your energy, your habits, your focus. That's how reinvention becomes inevitable. Here's a practical step. Audit your daily inputs. Track the people you interact with, the content you consume, and the habits you repeat for 1 week. Identify patterns that drain energy or foster negativity. Then remove or reduce them. Replace them with influences that challenge you, teach you, and inspire you. Over time, this curated environment compounds just like habits and systems. Your mind grows. Your discipline strengthens. Your momentum accelerates. That's the key. Another practical insight: digital detox. Social media is a toxic input for most people. Endless scrolling, comparison, and external validation drain attention and energy. Limit exposure. Schedule blocks of intentional consumption. Follow only accounts that educate, motivate, or inspire. Unfollow those that trigger envy, distraction, or doubt. Your environment, digital or physical, matters more than you realize. Choose wisely. Now, repetition is critical. Toxic inputs are seductive. They are comfortable. They are easy. They sneak in when you are tired, distracted, or stressed. That's why repetition and vigilance are necessary. Every time you feel pulled back into negativity, remind yourself, your environment will either elevate you or imprison you. Choose wisely. Let that guide every decision, every interaction, every scroll, every conversation, every choice. Here's another real-world example. Elon Musk, during the early years of SpaceX and Tesla, limited his inputs to focus on work, innovation, and learning. He didn't spend time on negativity, criticism, or distractions. He curated his environment meticulously. That focus allowed him to execute relentlessly, despite the naysayers and public pressure. Your input shapes your output. That's the key. Energy is finite. Attention is finite. Discipline is finite. If you waste it on toxic inputs, you compromise your ability to act, build, and transform. Reinvented people protect their environment fiercely. They cut relentlessly. They curate meticulously. They invest in influences that compound their growth. That's how momentum, systems, and transformation align. So as you close this chapter, remember, you have a choice. Who and what you consume determines your energy, your thoughts, your habits, and your life trajectory. Remove toxicity ruthlessly. Replace it intentionally. Protect your environment like your life depends on it, because it does. Every choice, every conversation, every scroll, every habit matters. Your environment will either elevate you or imprison you. Choose wisely. You mastered toxic influences. Now it's time to cement every principle into unstoppable discipline. Chapter 10. Reinvention is a daily commitment. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today, that choice is between seeing reinvention as a one-time event or embracing it as a daily lifestyle. Most people believe change happens overnight. They think one big decision, one motivational moment, or one dramatic effort will transform their life. And then when it doesn't, they quit. That's the trap. Real transformation is not an event. It is a daily commitment. Here's the truth. Reinvention is a lifestyle. It requires conscious, deliberate choices every single day. Small actions, repeated consistently, compound into extraordinary change over months and years. It's not dramatic. It's not glamorous. It's persistent. It's deliberate. And that's the difference between temporary excitement and permanent transformation. That's the key. You have a choice. You can take sporadic action and hope for results. Or you can commit to showing up every day, consistently, intentionally, and without excuse. Every habit, every micro decision, every routine matters. Every day is an opportunity to shape your identity, your skills, and your life trajectory. Every day counts. Repeat it. Small daily choices become unstoppable life transformations. Let's break it down. Reinvention is built on 3 pillars: habits, systems, and mindset. Habits form the backbone of your actions. Systems ensure those habits compound. Mindset ensures that you act consistently, even when motivation fades or obstacles appear. Neglect any one of these pillars and reinvention falters. Strengthen all 3 and transformation becomes inevitable. That's the key. Here's the practical approach. Review your habits daily. Ask yourself, Which actions move me toward reinvention? Which actions hold me back? Adjust ruthlessly. Stop doing what doesn't serve you. Double down on what does. Habit by habit, day by day, you create the framework for lasting change. No excuses. No shortcuts. Discipline over comfort. That's the principle. Next, review your systems daily. Systems are the processes that guarantee results regardless of motivation. Are your routines structured to reinforce growth? Are your habits compounding? Are you executing consistently? If not, refine them. Adjust. Iterate. Make your systems bulletproof. Systems don't fail you if you follow them. Goals may fail. Motivation may fail. Systems will not. That's the key. Mindset is the final pillar. Reinvention requires mental discipline. Daily reflection, visualization, and affirmation keep your mind aligned with your purpose. They prevent distractions from hijacking your actions. They reinforce internal authority, control over your thoughts, and focus on the long game. Review your mindset daily. Train it. Protect it. Strengthen it. Momentum starts in the mind and flows into action. That's the key. Real-world repetition. Think of James Clear's principles in Atomic Habits. Small daily actions. Writing, planning, exercising, learning, compound. 1% improvement each day doesn't seem like much, but over time, it produces exponential results. Small, deliberate choices, consistently executed, transform your life. That's the principle. That's the power of daily commitment. Now here's the reality. Life will challenge you. You will face resistance. You will feel fatigue. You will encounter setbacks, criticism, and distraction. That's normal. The reinvented person doesn't quit when it gets hard. They adjust. They refine. They persist. They show up tomorrow. They make the choice again. Daily commitment is what separates temporary effort from permanent transformation. Repeat it. Small daily choices become unstoppable life transformations. Another practical tip: track your progress. Journaling, habit tracking, or simple reflection keeps your choices visible. Seeing incremental progress reinforces commitment. It reminds you that every small action matters. Momentum builds. Confidence grows. Transformation accelerates. That's the key. Remember, reinvention is not dramatic. It is persistent. It is deliberate. It is mundane in the moment but extraordinary in the long term. Every small choice compounds. Every repeated habit strengthens your identity. Every system ensures you execute regardless of feeling. Every mental discipline protects your focus. Together, these daily choices become unstoppable life transformations. That's the principle. That's the key. Let's get specific. Commit to reviewing your habits, systems, and mindset at the start or end of each day. Identify one thing to stop. Identify one thing to start. Identify one thing to reinforce. Small adjustments daily prevent stagnation, eliminate wasted effort, and accelerate reinvention. The results may be invisible at first, but trust the process. Momentum compounds. Habits compound. Systems compound. Mindset compounds. That's the key. Here's another repetition. You have a choice. Small daily choices become unstoppable life transformations. You have a choice. Small daily choices become unstoppable life transformations. You have a choice. Small daily choices become unstoppable life transformations. Say it every morning. Say it every night. Embed it into your consciousness. Let it drive your actions. Let it shape your identity. Let it transform your life. That's the principle. That's the key. So as you close this chapter, remember, reinvention is not a one-time act. It is a lifestyle. It is deliberate. It is daily. Every decision, every action, every habit, every thought, every choice compounds into unstoppable transformation. You have mastered the principles of stopping proving, embracing discomfort, ignoring validation, replacing goals with systems, mastering your mind, building momentum, embracing the long game, and curating your environment. Now integrate it all daily. That is how extraordinary lives are built. That's the key. You have a choice. Will you let change happen by chance, or will you commit to daily reinvention? Will you settle for fleeting progress, Or will you compound small actions into unstoppable life transformation? Today, choose commitment. Today, choose discipline. Today, choose reinvention. Small daily choices become unstoppable life transformations. You have the power. You have the tools. You have the discipline. Reinvention is not a dream. Reinvention is not a concept. Reinvention is a daily choice, and today you choose it. If you want more strategies to transform your life, hit that subscribe button and join the journey to mastery and purpose.